Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Here's the next part. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorach. Very nice. That means a peaceful and blessed Shabbat to you. Let's see if we can put those two parts together. We'll sing them in order, and then you can choose either one. How does that sound? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Now we'll go down the scale. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Umevorach. Either part. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody on the melody. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Page 128. In brackets if you have them in your prayer book. Hinei matov manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. 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 Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to all those here in person. Welcome to all of those on Zoom. Yes, we're very excited to see you here tonight. I'm actually going to click that little box so we can see your faces. Hello, you guys. Shabbat Shalom.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, we were just waiting for you. No problem. Okay, not to be too indelicate, so I'll just get this out of the way up front. Today was a big day at TBT because Kim and Andrea San Marco and I took a little walk in the construction zone and we flushed an actual toilet.
It's pretty good.
I'm sorry to discuss such indelicate things on the Holy Shabbos, which is why I'm going to get it out of the way before we begin the service. But there are not, unfortunately, yet actual bathroom stalls, so we can't actually use the beautiful bathroom space. Yeah, details. But earlier last week, all of the JChat girls got together in the large, luxurious ladies' bathroom to be for a nice picture of excitement of how comfortable and hospitable our new space, in fact, will be. And so when we talk about soon, yes, I am feeling excited, and I think we are all feeling very excited about what is coming down the pike, not too long from now. Please
And the
God.
elevator works.
And the elevator works. Yes, installing it, I heard, had its ups and downs.
No. Hey, at least you chose the elevator, not the toilet for that.
That's true. There's a lot to be excited about up there. There's a new Bema platform and beautiful new ribs that really make the space so striking. And soon we're going to announce new organized opportunities to tour the space as well. So stay tuned for all of that. It's all a very exciting time here at TV. And in the meantime, we're very cozy still down here in our little preschool bed as well. So glad to see all of you here. This Shabbos, we're observing a newer Jewish holiday month of Jewish Disabilities Awareness Advocacy and Inclusion Month. So Dr. C is going to have a few words to say about that, which is during the month of February on the calendar. And we're also in the Torah portion called Yitro or Jethro, which is named, I believe, the only Torah portion named for a non-Jew, a non-Israelite in the whole Torah. Isn't that interesting? And it's a great, beautiful Torah portion that has some true father-son bonding and well-received advice, which I know from father-in-laws is not always the case, but in this case, it's very well-received advice, and also has the moving scene of the what the scholars call the theophany, the appearance of God giving the Torah to the people. The 10 Commandments first appear here, so it's a wonderful Torah portion. I encourage you to come to Torah study to dig into it with us tomorrow. All are always welcome on Zoom for that, of course. And I encourage us to greet one another and say hello to somebody you haven't yet seen for Shabbat. We wish each other Shabbat Shalom. We're on page 120 in our prayer books.
Oh, we can make that happen, Jonathan. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של
And Kabbalat Shabbat begins, entering in song, raising a shout to God, says the liturgy. Page 130, Lechu Neranena. We can raise our voices too. the following page.
Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shir Adonai, Malchut Shemo, Basu miyom le'yom Yeshuato, Saklu v'goyim ke'emono b'chol ha'amim, Nivlevotai, Adonai, U'olam me'od, Norahu, Alvo Elohim, Mikol Elohim, Ha'amim Elohim, Adonai Shamayim Asam, Od Hadad Levana, Uzvet Tiferet Mikdasho. Last paragraph. Yismechu Hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, Yirayam u'melod, Ya'alot Sadai, v'chol asher bo, Az yiranenu kol hatziyah, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Yishtot haaretz, Yishtot tzedek v'tzedek, Ve'amim ve'emunato,
What a joyful song. What a joyful sound you are all making tonight. I love it. Pretty great. The Chadodi is on page 138. Come, my beloved friend, let us go out to greet Shabbat. This one also has call and response. A lot of these tunes do. So you can either call or respond. But you have to pick one.
Our throat sound. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikavela. Shamor v'zachor v'diburecha, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'Shem u'tiferet v'litfilah. נקבלה, מקדש מלך מלוכה, ומציא מתוך אהבך, עד לשבת בימי קרבך, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה.
Verse 5. Please rise. We face the entrance to welcome Shabbat. Page 142. This melody for Shalom Aleichem was written by Debbie Friedman later in her life. We started learning it a few weeks ago, so those of you who are here will remember, and if you don't, that's okay. I'll teach again the chorus that we may all join in, and the verses you'll pick up as we go along. I hope you'll agree that it's an exceptionally beautiful melody. Here's how it goes. If that's a little too high, like this one. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Starts Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. It's got a little like Bach in there, right? Yon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'achem l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That sounds great. it's really not easy to do. So kudos to you. It sounds beautiful.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Yimelech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The next verse means if you have to go, please go in peace.
Zeichem Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Yimelech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Yimelech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you for learning that new melody with us. Page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon, u'chayei b'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala, u'vizman kari, v'yimeru, Amen. Yeishmei Rabba mevorach, ve'alam yameinu maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Ve'yishtabach, Ve'yithar, Ve'yitromam, Ve'yitnasei, Ve'yithadar, Ve'yithaleh, Ve'yithalal, Shmei Likudesha, Brichu, Le'eva min kol birchata ve'shirata,
Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiram Be'olam.
V'yimeru. Please rise, page 146.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 149, we'll read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide.
Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah.
Fortunately, we can't turn off the Game Boy, but it's playing along with us. Page 150.
Ahavat olam bet Yisrael amcha Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadotam. Ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shachenu Nasiach Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may have a seat. Page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבביך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לתותבות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim.
So bringing back another tune that we actually only learned once, and so I'm going to teach you nice and slow. We're going to turn to Michamocha on page 158. And when I first introduced this tune, I told you that the story, the way that I got this tune was actually doing some work with another rabbi whose wife learned this growing up in Saskatchewan. And she and I have yet to find the original arranger, so we refer to it as the Saskatoon. Which, you know, has its ups and downs. So I'm going to walk you through the parts of the tune just with la 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 first, and then we can actually apply the words, okay? So the first part is la 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 la. Your turn. La 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 la. Excellent. The next part is la 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 la. La la la. Let's do it together. La 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 la. Excellent. All right. And then the third part is la 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 la. Your turn. La 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 la. And then again la 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 la, but it ends with la 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 la. So we're gonna go a little bit up to come back down. La 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 la. Let's do that one more time. La 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 la. Excellent. And then it goes into yada yada, which are the best part of any prayer, right? Yada 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 yada. Let's do that. So we're going back to the way that we ended the first part, okay? All right. You'll catch on. It sounds more complex than it actually is. We'll get there.
Doesn't it sound somehow just familiar, like you already heard it? That's Jewish peoplehood.
Yes.
In a nutshell.
Absolutely. So here we go. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh,
נורא תהילות אוסף הלב, נורא תהילות אוסף הלב. ידידיי, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה עליינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ידידיי, ונאמר כי בד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
On the next page we'll read together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace
And raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch, blessed are you, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
164, as we begin the Amidah, we'll begin with our voices, and when your body is feeling ready to pray, along with that voice, you can stand up, and then we'll all be standing and singing together, just this.
אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מחוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה אב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד עד השם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continue with a moment of true Shabbat, of true restfulness, looking inward as we offer our own silent prayers. Through page 180 in the prayer book, or the prayer of your heart. And have a seat when you are ready to. pause for a moment of Mishabera, thinking of all those in our community who need healing. Some of you have made known to me or to other members of our team if somebody needs those prayers for healing. So I'm going to read their names, and I'll invite anybody who wants to share a name of somebody else they're thinking of to do so afterwards as well, whether in the chat if you're on Zoom or here in person. We think this evening of our temple members, April Diamato, Norma Diamond, Susan Glantz, Ann Karamanis, Josh Lipschitz, Linda Rosenfeld, Patty Sussman, and Mark Warner. And also all of our loved ones, including Lenore Shapiro, Linda Kaufman, Barak Yaakov ben Avram Basara, Tamar Bat Rachel, Harav Chaim ben Leah, Hani Ambrosino, Phyllis Barenhouse, Mickey Bart, Jay Fliss, Michelle Rusinko, Joanne Crusulo, Hal Katz, Bart Young, Sydney Scher, Matthew Pincus, Soraya Casey, Brian Kamens, Steve Kamens, Cecilia Byrne, John Van Steenbergen, Barbara Whitehouse, Vivian Handis, Roberta Gleit, Paul Frisman, Bruce Petroff, Tim Maurer, Ben Peck, Georgina Peck, Marion Macon, Martha and Mark Potter, Marshall Aronson, Gloria Newell, Sabine Meyer, Carol Bartlett, Tanya Kozowitz, Sherry Cohen, Joan Sidney, Amy Jacobs, Michael Stafford, Ira Weiss, Bill Reinold, Drew Garabo, and Davis Chamberlain. If there are others for whom we are praying this evening, feel free to share their names with us now or hold them in your hearts.
Anne Wright and Teresa Zinn.
Anne Wright and Teresa.
Rita Richmond.
Rita Richmond.
Cameron Frisch.
Cameron.
Cameron.
Cameron Frisch. We think also of Adrian Wasserman, Richard Leichter, and Carol Robb. We turn to page 371, and we share these prayerful words together in song.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We share those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
February, the shortest month of the year, one might say truncated, is Jewish Disability Awareness, Inclusion, and Advocacy Month. Judaim, kind of a mouthful. I have a friend who says Judaim because it just sounds fancier to her, among other things. I might hit some nerves tonight as I speak about this subject, but there are times when discomfort is a step toward growth, and so I'm going to invite you to sit in that discomfort with me. Most, if not all of us, are familiar with the sing-song schoolyard retort to name calling. Join me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me, right? But most of us, if not all of us, can also easily recall a time when name calling did, in fact, hurt. Not just emotionally, but in deep and long-lasting ways. As a language person, I found the proverbial pen truly to be mightier than the sword, and so it's likely no surprise that I will start with language this evening. English and English-speaking cultures have advanced a great deal, but we also need to remember that we speak the language that brought us such terms as invalid, crippled, wheelchair-bound, among others. These words are not powerless. They send a message to all who have used them and all who have heard them. Invalid literally relegates a person who has a disability to a class of no longer a valid person. Invalid. No. Thank God that's no longer in use. Crippled comes from the same root as creep and indicates someone who crawls. And this reference evokes the snake in the garden, whose punishment was that he would always crawl. Wheelchair bound sends both the message that a person is defined by their mobility and that users of mobility aids must use them at all times. We're also the culture that gave the world circus sideshow freaks to gawk at for a charge, monetary and emotional. And yet the truth of the matter is we all face disability in our lifetimes. Some of us will have temporary disability from injuries that heal. Think of yourself or your kids having to deal with sports injuries that left you with crutches. Some of us will suffer chronic illnesses that affect our physical and mental capacities. And most of us, God willing, face the infirmities of old age. And all persons, whether disabled or not, face greater and lesser ability. We all have good days and bad days. Disability is just part of all human life. And so when we exclude or other or ignore the disabled and the families that support them, we harm not only them, but ourselves as well. In Exodus chapter 4, we read of Moshe's encounter with Adonai at the burning bush. Adonai tasks Moshe with speaking to the elders of the Israelites. Moshe demurs. He says, I have never been a man of words, continuing, I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Later in Exodus 6, Adonai tells him to speak to Pharaoh. And Moshe repeats his claim. How would Pharaoh listen to me, who gets tongue-tied? At both these moments, Adonai tells Moshe that Aaron will do the speaking and he, Moshe, will do the leading. And here we have an example of Judaism's first leader with a disability and our first godly accommodation. Moshe's leadership skills are not invalidated by his speech. Those of you who've come to Torah study with me know I find the beauty of Torah lies not in its glorification of Beit Israel, the house of Israel, but in its very realistic presentation of our historical leaders' failings and limitations. Think about this. We are not provided with a perfect person whom we're tasked with emulating. As Jews, we're presented archetypes whose flaws and disabilities are inherent to their humanity, just as they are to ours. In fact, Judaism does not ask us to bring our perfect selves to any of our tasks. Even Torah chanting, whether done by a Baal Bat Mitzvah or a seasoned professional, is never done without an assistant, a gabbai. Rabbi Moss recently taught us that that word comes from the Hebrew word gav, which means back, because the gabbai used to draw the trope on the chanter's back as the chanter chanted to help him recall the phrase. Rabbis also dealt with the question of disability in the Talmud, and the record is mixed, as you may imagine. For example, there is an entire argument over whether a blind person is allowed to recite the blessings that lead up to the Shema. One piece of Mishnah states, and this is a bit of a long quote, so bear with me. A priest who has blemishes on his hands may not lift his hands to recite the priestly benediction. Because of his blemish, people will look at his hands and it is prohibited to look at the hands of the priest during the priestly benediction. Rabbi Yehuda says, even one whose hands were colored with satis, a blue dye, may not lift his hands to recite the priestly benediction because the congregation will look at him. The Gemara lists other disqualifiers for the priestly blessing, including Rav Asi, who says that a priest from Haifa or Bet She'an may not lift his hands to recite the priestly benediction, as he does not know how to properly pronounce the guttural letters. You may find that odd, but think about times when you may have complained or heard others complain about someone else's accent. As a former college professor, I've heard a lot of, I can't understand him, for visiting international professors. The argument continues with the rabbis, however, and it's not one of my favorite discussions, even though the rabbis make clear their reasoning, until we get to the unless, the exception to the rule. And here we get medieval reasoning that I believe opens a space for modern understanding. The exception is unless he is known to the community. The Hebrew actually calls this kind of leader a chaver ha'ir, a friend of the community or of the city. And if the leader is known, the reasoning goes, the congregation won't stare. That is, a person who's fully seen in his or her community has had their disability normalized. The congregation needn't stare because they already know. Because the leader's abnormality is not an oddity. He stops being a sideshow freak. In this, I see a mandate. This is where things turn and I start being, all about the whole thing. It is upon us to bring the realities of disability into the light. It is upon us to see our own humanity as encompassing disability. Because if we normalize disability, we can see accommodation not as lowering standards, but as lowering obstacles. If we normalize disability, we see the new elevator in our renovated space, which is now working, not just as meeting the legal requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but as a sign that mobility here is not a barrier to Jewish participation. If we normalize disability, we can even come to feel more comfortable with our own bodies and minds when they perform in ways that are not quite what we're used to. By normalizing disability, advocating for accommodations, and learning to accept others, we also get to welcome more friends into the community. Shabbat shalom. As Rabbi works his way up here, please turn to page 586, and please rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shavet l'ateilah l'rishit shelo aseh ha'atzot shelo samta keinu kadel le'yom
Kadosh Baruch Hu, page 591.
V'nema v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yireh Adonai echad u'shemo
Have a seat. Dr. Koach, Dr. C. But Leslie, will you come up, please, to greet us on behalf of our board?
Shabbat shalom. So I'm here on behalf of the TBT board. I'm a member at large. My name is Leslie Powell. And I send everybody, even on Zoom, a warm welcome. Just a few announcements. On Sunday, religious school is meeting at TBT as usual, and the men's club will meet at 9:30 in the community room. On Wednesday, February 15th at 7 p.m., the newly formed Chesed committee will be meeting in the community room. I believe Chesed used to be the committee called Helping Hands. Is that correct?
Correct.
The mission of Chesed is to make sure that all members of our community feel supported both in and outside of our building in both challenging and joyful times. Chesed's goal is to create support systems and connections wherever and whenever possible. And if you're interested in becoming involved in this, please contact Amy Lee or Leslie Hyman or the TBT office and come to the meeting on Wednesday. The TBT design team is holding its last round of small group conversations about the Jewish future on the shoreline. It's called TBT Connects, and this is your last chance to participate. I don't know if that's true, but it says it right here.
It actually is.
Okay, your last
We've
chance.
been saying it for a couple of weeks so that nobody misses the message.
So to sign up, please contact the office or ask Rabbi Moss. And finally, Purim is just around the corner, so mark your calendars for Salty's Purim Carnival on Sunday, March 5th, and on Monday, March 6th, the Spiel snacks and wine tasting for adults. So thanks again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And on that note, if you've always wanted to be a kosher ham, if you can't find your way out of the spotlight, it just shines on you like the stars. Or if you just, really enjoy getting into a costume and having fun and would like to be a participant in either of the two spiels, please just let me know. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can all do together.
And you don't have to schlep to Camp Laurelwood this year, which is a bonus. It's going to be a lot of fun. I always say that Purim is the least kid-friendly holiday that has turned into the most kid-centric holiday in Judaism. So if you really want to understand what Purim is about at an adult level, which is the true way to enjoy it, then come to our adult spiel. It's going to be a great evening of responsible frivolity. Sorry, Lucy, you can be responsibly frivolous with this. Actually, the truth is the teams can come to that too. They just can't imbibe. Okay, so I have to say, some of us were at the Jewish Disabilities Awareness Advocacy and Inclusion Month last year on Zoom. And was anybody here there? Do you remember meeting Aaron Kaufman, who works for advocacy with JIFNA, the Jewish Federation of North America? Well, anyway, he's a remarkable man and a good friend of both Susan's and mine. And they unfortunately just lost a family member this week. His brother, Jay Kaufman, passed away, which was a very, very, very sad loss. And so we're thinking of our friend of TBT, Aaron, and his family tonight. And I also wanted to share with you all some sad news that our beloved Bubby, Phyllis Kaufman, I just learned passed away just an hour before Shabbat came in. So we're very much thinking of the Kaufman family at this time. And we will announce probably on Sunday morning information details about the funeral and subsequent arrangements, likely to be a Monday afternoon funeral. So for those of you who want to be there, it will be at our cemetery, Beaverbrook Cemetery in Clinton on Monday afternoon. So both Kaufman families are very much in our hearts tonight, as are all of those whose yard sites we observe, those who passed away at the season and time gone by include, and feel free to rise as I read your loved one's name if you're comfortable and stay standing. Irving Finns, Eric Romine, Kathleen Prescott, Hyman Browarski, Shirley Brand, Richard Grossman, Bill Calvert, Hartog Hess, Hazel Ross Russell, Molly Schaffer, Joseph Merkin, Muriel Naleb, Rhoda Kaplan, Ida Katz, Arthur Eder, Sam Raflowitz, and Leonard Greenberg. There are others who are observing a Jewish milestone of bereavement, whether it's Shiva Shloshim or Yartzeit. You're here to say Kaddish tonight. Please feel free to share the name of your loved one if you feel comfortable doing so. Anybody else saying Kaddish tonight? Or anybody on Zoom, feel free to share their name with us. I invite all of us to please stand in solidarity with our mourners. Page 598, we recite the words of mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma tibrach re'uteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayikon v'yumikon v'chay d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalah u'bizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabah mevorach le'olam u'yomei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpachar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. Yitbarach v'yitzaleh v'yitzaleh shmei v'ushcha v'yitlu. Ve'elam kol birchata v'shirata. Tushmechata v'nekavata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabah v'yishmaya. V'chayim alev ve'al Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav. Oyaseh shalom. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all who are bereaved, as we say, Amen. You can have a seat, friends. Shabbos. Lucy, what do you say? Do you want a little soft entry to Bat Mitzvah Kiddush practice with the name of your seat? We'll sing along with you. We'll sing along with you. What do you say?
And for that, you get grape juice.
Here, I'm going to take that from you. I'll give you an easier one to hold. Nice big print. Okay, we're on page 123. Page 1, 2, 3. We'll start together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah b'anu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta Yotanu kidashta mikol ha'alim v'shavat kodeshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat l'chaim. Take a sip.
Yummy. Good, I'll exchange.
Favorable reviews.
Start with me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem mi'haaretz b'te'avon.
Some bread.
You got the first bite. Good job. Can I take a bite too?
Yeah.
You want to pass it around? Yeah. Good job.
Thank you, Lucy.
Awesome. Not so terrible, right? So what you all don't know about young Lucy is that she is her class leader in Bat Mitzvah signatures for service attendants. How many do you have, Lucy?
He has a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We have a 7th grade contest where each student brings their blue Bar Bat Mitzvah passport for us to sign if they come to services at least once a month. And at the end, there's a special treat for the winner. Now, as it happens, there are some strong competitors in this class, and it's possible that several of them are going to end up with a full docket. But I think Lucy if they all get one treat, is gonna have to probably get 4. So very proud of her commitment and attendance, and keep up the good work, kiddo.
And thanks, Mom.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dr. C, closing song.
Well, the sheet says Adon Olam Israeli.
How do you feel about Adon Olam Israeli? Adon Olam.
Sure.
Did you have another preference?
No.
Okay, great. Page 625. We haven't sung Adon Olam in a long time.
I think the only Adon Olam that I dislike is the one set to Silent Night. That's just a little disturbing for me.
Well, I cannot hear that. Adon Olam, Asher Marach, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra, Ein Nasa, B'chatzo kol, Azar Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol, Levado Ilof Noah, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh, Ve'hu Yeh B'Tikvah. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chatzo kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh B'Tikvah. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chatzo kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh B'Tikvah. Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh B'Tikvah. Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Le'hamshilo Le'avira Ve'li Tachlit Ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra. Ve'hu Eli ve'hai go'ali Tzur Eli ve'ein tzara. Ve'hu nisi u'manosli Menat kosi ve'yom ekra beyado makiruvi ve'tishan ve'ahira ve'yiruvi ve'viati Adonai Elohira. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chatzo kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh B'Tikvah. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'chatzo kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kilot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh B'Tikvah. 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 Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach.